So the premise seems simple. Make college free. But the question that we have to ask, if we make college free, then who is going to pay for it? And ultimately the answer to that question spans the breadth of the American economic system, our values as Americans, how we tax people, but in the end, the answer is that the top 10% earning Americans can't foot the bill for higher education, and we should make college free. So the reality of the matter is that America lags academically behind all these other countries. This organization called PISA, or Program for International Student Assessment, ranks students on math, science, their reading abilities, and America never scores in the top 50. We are bested by countries like Canada, New Zealand, Finland, Japan, Germany, the Netherlands. All these countries perform much better than us. And the downside of this is that if our high school students are unprepared, then they enter a world where they cannot afford higher education. Then we have less people that have higher education degrees, in addition to having people that are academically underprepared. And what happens is the pool, our intellectual capital in America, this pool of people that powers the engine of progress and innovation, it's underpowered. And our future as a superpower and as a potential leader in the free world, it kind of dims a little bit if we can't keep up with all these other countries academically, because that's the root of our success, ultimately. Additionally, there is just a massive discrepancy of wealth in this country. Nicholas Fitz, a writer for the Scientific American, talks about a study that was done where they asked the average American worker what they thought the rate of CEO to the average worker in the institution made. And average American says that they think it's 30-1. CEO earns 30 times more than the average worker. And they said ideally it would be 7-1. But the reality is much, much, much greater. The average CEO earns 354 times what the average worker makes. So there is a giant discrepancy of wealth in America. And additionally, it looks like a lot of Americans aren't exactly aware of how big it actually is. So, I think it's because we're a country that worships people like Steve Jobs. We have huge amounts of respect for these economic magnates. And, we love people like Warren Buffett. And we have huge amounts of respect and fear for the impact and power that big business has in our country. And, however, let me double check his name. Joseph E. Stiglitz is a Nobel Prize winning economist, and he's quoted in a New York Times article as saying, "The only upside of the concentration of wealth top is that they have more to pay in taxes." So, they have more money to pay. And another piece by the New York Times, they talk about if the top 0.1% of earners in America, if their income tax was raised, I think it's about 25% right now. If it was raised to 40%, then that would generate $55 billion in income alone. And that would more than cover the estimated cost of higher education in America, which has been quoted as $47 billion. So there's a possibility right there. However, if you are looking to tax people like that, and you're looking to fund higher education completely, you have to ask, why is it so important to do so? And I think two kind of interesting points to address that are countries like Canada and Germany, which are kind of different. And Canada is the most educated country in the world. 53% of Canadians have a higher education degree, and their costs of education are not particularly low. They're lower than America, but they're not the lowest in the world, and they're certainly more expensive than many places. But so many people were educated. Then you have somewhere like Germany, where college tuition is like $899, and that's it. But less people in Germany go or apply to college than they do in America. So more people in America apply for college even though it costs more relative to the population, like the ratios. And you have to kind of ask, like, if you have a country like Canada where it's expensive but everybody gets a degree, but then you have somewhere like Germany where it's really cheap but less people get degrees, you have to ask, why education at all? Like, is it really necessary? And for somewhere like Germany where the taxes are so high and they fund very high quality of life, you know, these questions are especially relevant. And you have to ask, is education for materialistic means? Is it just to be able to afford a better lifestyle for yourself? Or is it a nationalistic thing where you want to help your country get ahead? Or is it a moral thing where you want to seek personal growth and edification? And I think ultimately the answer is all three, and even a German without a college degree would agree that college education is extremely important. In the end, Americans have to choose between incurring massive debts and pursuing a higher education, or they have to deal with the lower wages and reduced opportunities that going without a college degree brings with it. And if we continue in this atmosphere, the gap between us and our competitors is only going to grow. And so ultimately, making education free is necessary. And fortunately, we do have a population of people here in America who can foot the bill. So we need to tax the ultra-rich in order to make college free. Thank you.